My name is Pete, and if you've ever written one of these big, nasty if statements that evaluates a cell and applies criteria based on the value of that cell, this is a great video for you because I'm showing you how you can use a VLOOKUP to replace that big, nasty if statement in an extremely easy and elegant way, and it's going to be so much easier to update and make changes down the road. So let's get started right now. So let's get familiar with the if statement we're going to be replacing today. And this formula looks at the content in cells B3 and assigns a category based on the value in that cell. And it's a big if statement, and each customer that you see here is assigned a category within the if statement. And so this works okay, but if you want to update it, you've got to go back into this big old if statement and make changes, and then drag it all the way down to the subsequent cells. And instead, we're going to store the logic in this if statement in a table, and that's going to unlock some really cool things for us. I'm going to copy these cells, and I'm going to paste them as values over here. Then I'm going to go up to Insert, Table, and click OK. Here's the list of retailers and the corresponding category for each retailer. And instead of this if statement, we're going to write a VLOOKUP. So $VLOOKUP, and the lookup value is Kroger. The table array is our new table. Column index is 2, and the range lookup is false. Close parentheses and press enter. And as you can see, the VLOOKUP returns the same result of the if statement that we had. Now I'm going to go ahead and drag that down to the subsequent cells. And so the really cool thing about using a table is that when a new value is added to the table, the VLOOKUP automatically picks it up. Whereas with the if statement, we'd have to go back and update the if statement and pull it down to all the subsequent cells. So we're going to add a new row of data with a retailer that's not currently in the table. Right click, click Insert, and rows below. And I'm going to populate with the new customer name and category. And you'll see when we add Walmart to our table, our data table over here, and drag it down, the VLOOKUP automatically detects the new entry. And this is way easier than what we had done with the if statement before, where we would have to update the logic and then drag it down to the subsequent cells. So we're going to take a look at another if statement that we can code into a VLOOKUP. And this time we're going to be assigning categories to the retailer based on the annual revenue of our coffee business. And so the if statement says if the retailer's annual revenue is greater than 40,000, they're large. If it's greater than 25,000, they're medium. And if it's greater than 10,000, they're small. But we can actually do this more easily using a table and a VLOOKUP. So let's show how. Over here, I'm going to go up to Insert, Table, and it's going to have 2 columns and 4 rows. And it has headers. Column 1 is going to be annual revenue, and column 2 is going to be category. And I'm going to codify that same logic. If annual revenue is greater than 10,000, it's small. 25,000, it's medium. And if it's greater than 40,000, it's large. And so to use this table to assign categories, we're going to do =VLOOKUP, and we're going to look up the annual revenue. We're going to do so in our new table, return the column index number of 2, and this time we're going to have our range lookup of true, which is an approximate match. Close parentheses and press enter. And then I'm going to drag this down to the subsequent cells. And as you can see, this generates the same output as the if statement, but has a couple different benefits. Just like in our last example, if we add a new customer to this table and drag down the VLOOKUP, the formula works as expected. Likewise, you can add new records to this table by right-clicking, going to Insert, and clicking rows above. And we can add a new category here. So when we add a new record to our table here, VLOOKUP automatically detects that record and assigns a category based on the revenue. Now, with using a range lookup of true, you have to be careful on the order in which you present these lookup values. A range lookup of true assumes that the lookup values are sorted either numerically or alphabetically. So if I were to add that tiny record to the bottom of the table, that would be problematic. Thanks for tuning in. If you learned something, press that like button. Check out the link in the description for the practice data that I used in the video, and we'll see you next time.